Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the channel. What we got here, it looks like it's a pretty disassembled mower, but actually what it is this is a mower that I picked up originally just for parts, to be quite honest. It's a Poulan front-wheel drive self-propel with a bag. It had an identical Craftsman body, but it didn't have a bagger, so this was being sold non-running condition. So I bought it really for parts. It had two cables that were both bad. Didn't know if it ran. I did take it home and I fired it up with some starting fluid. It seemed like it ran, but I got this about over a year, probably about a year and a half ago. So it was in storage for a while. Ended up that I came across another bag and a mulch plug and stuff like that for that other mower, so I didn't actually use this one. And so being that it ran, the only thing, it was electric start and it didn't have a key and some other things, so actually I ended up pulling off, see the parts here, the starter motor, the battery box, that little thing where the battery went. And so I wasn't going to try to refurbish it to that point. It had a key up here that it was integrated with a key, and also had the stop cable. So to replace that, had the wiring and all that stuff in there. It probably would have been a lot more cost prohibitive to do it that way, but it looked like it still had good wheels on it. And if I could just convert this over to a regular pull start, then I'd be in pretty good shape, because excuse me, I would have to spend some money. I had to buy two cables and stuff like that, but if I could get the rest of it running, that would be pretty good. So as it sits right now, it looks like it's pretty disassembled, but I'm just going to go back and do the reassembly, because I pulled off that electric start, all the wiring, the battery, had that little thing there where the battery went. Had to take this brake off because that had the wiring for the electric start. I mean, I could have just pulled the wires, but I had another one, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull this flywheel off. This is the one for with the ring gear for the starter, so I'm going to pull that off, just put a regular one on. This one, the recoil, didn't have a handle, just had a rope tied with like a little piece of wood at the end of it. So I was gonna have to change that anyway, so I think I can rebuild this. So far I had to buy two cables. One was the propelled cable and the other one being the brake cable. So trying to keep the costs reasonable on this one. If it does run, I could do touch-up paint on here. Gloss black, about the easiest paint to match up, so I can get that done, and hopefully it'll turn out pretty good. So let's get to work on this one and start putting some things back together. Okay, so as you can see, I got the recoil back mounted, tank, carb, the box over there with the air filter, and needs two cables. So I've got two cables here. Give you a part number here. This is there it is, 732183567. This is the control cable, basically the brake cable that runs on one of these 22-inch mowers from here down to here. And then for that type of self-propel, which this one has, it has the little lever that pulls up and releases, and it goes in through here and it runs up to this side and this lower handle. What I got here is a Stens control cable to replace 532194653, and that has this little springy type end on the transmission side. So I'm gonna pop those two cables on, give it some fuel. I got to give it some oil, and then we'll do a test start. Okay, so here's a final look on this Poulan. I got the cover reconditioned pretty nicely. Actually, I did this one a little different. I got a scotch brite pad, went over it, and then I hit it with some heat. Looks pretty good. Also cleaned up that plastic. I did do a little spray paint job just here and on the side, and actually used that same technique of on those wheels. They were a little scuzzy looking, but came out pretty nice. This is actually my last MTD style self-propel, meaning Craftsman, Poulan, Troy-Bilt. So we're pretty much going to have just Troy-Bilts, Toros, Hondas, and, well, I do have some Husqvarnas, so I guess they are kind of made by these people, but it's more their, I guess, higher end stuff, if you will, if you consider Husqvarna to be that way. But I'll give you a start on this one. So it's a primer bulb. This is the one that was electric start. So this is actually a mower that I fixed by removing parts rather than really adding parts, but essentially I did add parts because I swapped over the flywheel, the brake mechanism, the recoil to non-propel style. So give this guy a start. Propel works, everything's working fine. This has a bag and mulch. This was the one that I said I just bought it for parts, and I was intending to just part this mower out, but it ran. I got 2 cables on here. I need to tie wrap them down, and that's it on this one. So I'll give you a little peek on this particular model. I think it's a 2002. No, this might be 07, 03, 315. See that? Maybe not. So it looks like March 15, 07. So it must be an 07. All right. Stay tuned for more on those Hondas and Toros coming down the road. Thanks.